Okay, so if you're in college, you know that managing your time isn't just some helpful skill. It's a high-stakes game. Winning can literally define your entire academic career. But losing, well, that can cost you way more than a letter grade. It can cost you a fortune.
So why is this so critical? What makes it so high stakes? It's all because of this crazy domino effect that starts so small you might not even notice it at first. And look, this isn't me being dramatic. This isn't just some scary quote. For so many students, this is the real story of their semester. And it almost always starts with something tiny, like one missed deadline or just 1 week of falling behind. It really is a perfect storm. You procrastinate on one assignment, right? Well, that means you have less time to study for that upcoming quiz. A bad grade on the quiz adds a ton of stress, which leads to burnout, and that fatigue just bleeds into all your other classes. And suddenly, it feels like all the dominoes are falling at once, and you have no idea how to get back on track. I mean, a tanking GPA and crushing stress, that's devastating all on its own. But the real shocker comes when these little delays start to push back your graduation date. Because that's when the dominoes don't just hit your transcript, they hit your bank account hard. Just take a look at this number. $151,115. Yeah, you're seeing that right. According to a Washington Post analysis, that is the staggering average cost of taking just 2 extra semesters to graduate. And let's break this down for a second. The extra tuition and loan interest, yeah, that hurts. But that's not even the worst of it. You're also losing over $46,000 in wages you could have been earning. But the real gut punch? Over $82,000 in lost retirement earnings. Money that's just gone before you even had a chance to make it. That right there, that's the real cost of lost time. Okay, so the stakes are incredibly clear. To avoid that whole domino nightmare, we have to face the 2 biggest enemies of your time. We're going to name them, and then we're going to learn how to beat them. And it turns out students are pretty self-aware about who the first enemy is. When you ask them in a survey what's the #1 skill they wish they had, it's not about juggling classes or planning ahead. Nope, it's just, how do I stop procrastinating? We all know that feeling. But what is really going on? It's so easy to just chalk it up to being lazy, right? But the truth? Well, it's a lot deeper and more complex than that. See, here's the thing. Procrastination isn't really about managing your time. It's about managing your emotions. We put things off, not because we're lazy, but because the task itself makes us feel bad. Maybe we're scared we'll fail, or we're just so exhausted and overwhelmed we can't even think about starting. It's a coping mechanism that just completely backfires on us. Now, the second enemy is a little more sneaky. It's that constant battle between the things screaming for your attention right now, the urgent stuff, and the things that will actually get you closer to your long-term goals, the important stuff. And we get stuck in this trap of handling urgent but totally unimportant things all day long. So, okay, how in the world are you supposed to decide what to tackle first? When you've got a huge paper due tomorrow, but you also, have to do laundry and answer a dozen emails, how do you cut through all that noise? Okay, this is where a super simple tool can literally change your life. It's called the Eisenhower Matrix, and all it does is force you to filter every single task through 2 quick questions. Is it urgent, and is it important? And just like that, you have a clear roadmap. You do what's urgent and important, you schedule what's important but not urgent, and you learn to delegate or just delete the rest. All right, so we've named our enemies. Now it's time to build our battle plan. And that all starts with turning these fuzzy, vague hopes into actual concrete goals. And the difference here is everything. Doing well, what does that even mean? It's a wish, it's not a plan. But earning a 3.0 GPA, now that's a target. You can measure it, you can track it, and you can build a real strategy to make it happen. That's the power of being specific. And the secret sauce here is the SMART framework. Your goal needs to be specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound. You check all 5 of those boxes, and suddenly that wish becomes a real objective you can actually work towards. Okay, you've got your enemies identified, you've got your SMART goals set. Now, let's fill up your toolkit with some real practical strategies you can start using, like today. First up, you've probably heard of this one, the Pomodoro technique. The idea is so simple. You just set a timer for 25 minutes, and for those 25 minutes, you give one task your undivided attention. When the timer goes off, you take a quick 5-minute break. It's seriously the best way to just get started on something big and overwhelming. Next is time blocking. So instead of a simple to-do list that just kind of floats there, you treat your tasks like appointments. You schedule them directly into your calendar. This forces you to be realistic about your day and guarantees you have dedicated, uninterrupted time for your most important work.
And finally, this one's a personal favorite, the pickle jar theory. Picture this. Your time is a big empty jar. Your most important tasks, like studying for finals or writing that huge paper, those are the big rocks. If you put them in the jar first, all the little stuff, the pebbles and sand, like checking email or doing laundry, they'll just fill in the cracks. But if you fill your jar with sand first, those big rocks are never gonna fit. Ever.
So we've got goals. We've got all these cool tools. But what's the real end game here? What's the feeling we're actually trying to get to? And this might be the most important takeaway of all. Academic research shows that the biggest factor in reducing your stress isn't a perfectly color-coded calendar. It's the feeling of being in control of your time. All these tools, they're not really about becoming a productivity robot. They're about getting that sense of agency and control back in your own life. And you can't control what you don't measure, right? So the very first step is to take an honest look at where your 24 hours are really going. If you actually mapped out your own day, just like this chart, what would you discover? Where is all that time disappearing to? Ultimately, it all boils down to this. We all get the exact same 168 hours every single week. The only question is, are you just spending them, or are you intentionally investing them in the future you want to build? The choice is yours.